Simply from a structural perspective, in women with breast implants, lymphatic flow around the chest and axilla can become congested and dysregulated due to the chronic inflammation, the capsule formation, and silicone particle migration. This impaired lymphatic drainage not only traps toxins, also traps the inflammatory byproducts, but it also may alter the transport of the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. We covered how important vitamin D was when we talked about a little bit about its T regulatory support. And so these fat-soluble vitamins are essential to health. And these lipid-based hormones, such as estrogen, progesterone, and cortisol, also get traveled through the lymph. So imagine if you have an endocrine disruptor, such as breast implants, you're going to not only affect the transportation, but you're going to impact the actual estrogen and progesterone balance, and also the cortisol balance, which is the stress hormone. And we need to be able to metabolize these appropriately for good health. So the results can be local, structurally, and can land in the breast and or the lymph node and the tissue. And we see that implication in the swelling. Systemic consequences also, like we said, include hormone imbalance, nutrient deficiencies, and chronic inflammatory states, and the symptoms that follow. If we take estrogen as an example, which is normally metabolized by the liver, it is also excreted into the bile, and it also circulates bound to proteins, lipoproteins, and through the lymphatic system. When lymph flow is congested, hormone trafficking and clearance slow, potentially leading to estrogen buildup in the breast tissue and relative dominance over progesterone. So estrogen dominance, hormone disruption, endocrine disruption. You can see symptoms of those. The imbalance can drive local inflammation, tenderness, and even fibroblast activity that worsens the capsular contracture, while systemically contributing to symptoms of estrogen dominance, such as heavy periods, PMS, mood changes, weight gains, and breast swelling. Because lymph also carries immune cells and cytokines, congestion disrupts the immune endocrine crosstalk, amplifying chronic immune activation, fatigue, and autoimmunity-like symptoms. In addition, impaired lymph flow may alter disruption and clearance of other steroid hormones, including, like we talked about, progesterone, cortisol, and even testosterone. What's also intriguing is that it disrupts the delivery and the transport of vitamins A, D, E, and K, compounding the effects on reproduction, fertility, mood, stress, bone, and systemic inflammation. So in summary, when lymphatic congestion alters estrogen transport, it can create a ripple effect, localized breast inflammation, systemic estrogen dominance, and chronic immune activation. This compounds the health burden in women with implants. Within the lymphatic structure, there are lymph nodes. They are like collection ducts. They are found in various points around the body, including the neck, the armpits, the chest, and the abdomen and groin. The abdomen, where we do much of the digestion from stomach to the intestines, is very rich in lymphatic tissue. Lymph nodes have a wide range of function, but are generally associated with the body's defense. More lymphocytes are produced when you have an infection, and that is why your lymph nodes tend to swell during this time. Lymph nodes may become fatty or fibrotic with age, especially if you have chronic congestion, and they can become clogged with silicone and foreign objects that cannot be filtered out of that particular lymph node. Silicone has been found in lymph nodes and other organs such as the liver, the brain, kidneys, and the intestinal area. Macrophages within the lymphatic system try to defend the body. When macrophages encounter silicone from gel bleed, migration, or rupture, they treat it like a foreign body. Because silicone isn't alive, it can't be killed by the macrophages. They attempt phagocytosis, and the macrophage engulfs the silicone droplets. Since they can't digest silicone, the macrophages remain activated, releasing enzymes, reactive oxygen species, and inflammatory cytokines. Giant cell formation occurs. Multiple macrophages fuse into multinucleated giant cells into an effort to wall off the silicone. Granuloma formation occurs. Remember, we talked about SIGBIC, and this can lead to those silicone-induced granulomas within that breast implant capsule. These silicone granulomas can occur throughout the body, like we've seen this in the lung and other organs as well. So we have here now ongoing immune activation. Chronic exposure drives persistent inflammation and fibrosis and can even trigger systemic immune dysregulation in susceptible people. So, in short, the foreign object can't get digested or broken down, and we have this constant trigger that your lymphatic system is trying to deal with. The lymphatic system is dynamically influenced by the gut and liver health. Gut absorption plays a big role in dietary fats being absorbed and carried into the lymph, right? We talked about A, D, and K. It provides the energy supply via chylomicrons entering the bloodstream. Poor bile flow or thick lymph impairs this fat digestion and nutrient absorption. Liver and bile, right? These are a key interplay. Bile flow emulsifies the fats. Thick bile equals sluggish, congested lymph. It's very important that digestive health is assessed and supported in these people, really in anyone, because once that thick bile comes into play, it really can turn very thick, like when butter has been melted and it starts to congeal. It looks like that. Immune surveillance, 70% of the immune cells reside in the gut, and that drains into the lymphatic system. We talked about detoxification, but toxins, pathogens, and metabolites travel through the lymph to the nodes and into the circulation. A little fun fact. As you can see, while the lymph is not made up of fats, it has fats in it, right? The lymph is very lymphophilic, fat-loving. Silicone is very lipophilic, fat-loving, and tends to travel through the lymph fluid with ease, right? So silicone is going to find fat. Fat is in the lymph, fat is in other places, but it's also in our cell wall and a phospholipid bilayer. And that is very detrimental and a course in which silicone can rest itself. So normal lymph is clear. Intestinal lymph, called chyle, is usually very rich in tiny fat particles and other lipids. Lipophilic chemicals can dissolve into these lipid carriers, like pesticides, PCBs, silicone, and even some drugs. And so this can clog up and cause congestion and overburden. So it's important to keep this area not only clear, but keeping digestion and the bile and the liver flow healthy, so you can have the advantage to help absorb the essential fats and vitamins that you need to. It also means that fat-soluble toxins can hide in the lymph and hide in the fat tissue, making it harder to clear. So in summary, the roles of the lymphatic system: maintains fluid balance, detects and clears pathogens, toxins, and abnormal cells, houses lymphocytes in the nose, spleen, thymus, and tonsils, rapidly multiplies them, and produces antibodies when needed. It transports dietary fats, fat-soluble vitamins, and hormones. It supports immune endocrine regulation and helps resolve inflammation. And it acts as a drainage, defense, and detoxification network.
If you're a licensed healthcare practitioner ready to evolve your functional medicine practice, explore over 300 hours of clinical training, masterclasses with leading functional medicine clinicians, and certification pathways. Or check out the Academy of Functional Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine at afnlm.com. Whether you're on the path to certification as a functional nutritionist or simply want to optimize your own and your family's health, our skill-building approach builds real-world competence from the ground up. And lastly, if you're dealing with chronic health challenges, visit drknews.com for self-paced courses that help you understand and address fatigue, brain fog, autoimmune conditions, gut problems, and more using evidence-based approaches. The content on this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health regimen. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might benefit.